All right, so I'm going to do a walkthrough on Sequoia. I'm going to get a bag with the zero hybrid, just because it can be helpful on a couple of those through the tree shots. We'll see. So I'm no expert on Sequoia by any means. Mulch shot a 25. I'm sure he'd be willing to do a walkthrough. Playing stouts, if you're wondering. But all right, this hole, there's nothing to do. I've tried like curving around. You don't need to. Right? You wind up going in the sand if you don't curve it right, and you're not getting to the green, and you're fine coming from that side. Yeah. So like most courses, first few holes are pretty straightforward. All right, this is your first kind of tricky one. The shot is in between these trees, right? And it depends on, where you're lined up and stuff. But right, so here, I'm going to go a little left. Just be mindful of the wind. So I'm actually going to pull back straight and then push a little left. Right, that straight pullback as opposed to towards C kept me from shooting off and hitting that other tree on the left. Kind of came back, fought the wind a little. Okay, so this hole, there's two spots you can really lay up. One is right here, and then I'll show you the other once I'm up there. All right, so you kind of get right before this sand. The other spot on a closer tee box, if you lay up right at the end of the fairway here, you can go around those trees to the left with like a 5 hybrid. And you go around the left, you hit that hill and bounce on. But with the back tee, I'm gonna have to go around to the right. I'm gonna give myself some extra distance here, backspin, cut it in, and just a little. And I missed the putt, but you get the idea. This is pretty straightforward. This pin sometimes does tuck behind that tree. Often like a gap wedge setup, it's still a simple birdie. The only problem is sometimes if you try to get too close, you hit the tree, and then you wind up hurting yourself. This hole, you can get through there, kind of high 6 wood. I don't know if the high 5 goes. You can go around through some tee boxes. You can actually curve it through there if you're off to the right. But from this kind of look, if you're going for the green, it's here. So I'm going to give a slight pullback to C to fight the wind. I'm going to have to go a bit to 3 to get by those trees. All right, so here you want to be right about at the top of that hill. You want to trickle down a little so that you have a shot, but you don't want to roll all the way down because it just goes to the water. So I want to kind of go, and the spin will pull me, And that's all you need. You just need to look at the pin. Anything more, and it just keeps rolling down to the water. I probably should have just done the 8.5 there. I mean, I don't really know why I clubbed down. But this is a pretty good look at it. It's just straight through the trees. Sometimes it's a bit more hidden than that. I'm gonna go forward bite, I think. So I should push to the left. All right, so I missed a putt, but fairly clean front nine. Okay, this hole, some setups, maybe this setup, if you have streaks or maybe arrows, you can actually drive the green. It's not happening with stouts. 99% of the time it's not happening, but that green can be driven. I've hit it with streaks. I don't think I've ever hit it with anything else. And even with streaks, that setup might have worked. But even with streaks, it's, maybe 5% of the time. So this hole, this isn't a bad setup for it, but one thing you do, I'm going to kind of overhit to the fat part here. Right. Just in general, some of those where there's a threat of bouncing off the tree, you can just kind of use the fatter part. You're not going to point it, you're not going to hole out, but it can make it safer. All right, on this hole, you want to get out as far as you can, and you'll see a line through the trees. So you want to get past those ones. And then there it is. This might work. This will cut the wind. Could easily hit a 3 or 4 wood through there too. All right, this is where the zero hybrid can be really helpful. I don't think I need it on this setup, although I'm gonna go driver just because chances are you probably don't have an O-bird. So even with the low driver from back here, you can still be too high, so you got to be a little careful sometimes. Get there. Yep, there you go. So the zero hybrid, when you have that look, but it's like 290 or something, sometimes even thumbing the driver will still clip that, clip the top of that opening. All right, so this, you're tempted to just, high tee it and drive by that. You can water there. You actually, back here is a more consistent layup spot. Could have been a bit out, but and then just cut it in, because there's times you definitely can't get past the water. But that layup spot before the water is always there, and it's a relatively easy cut. This hole, you just got to avoid the trees and not go too far, because it is a down 9, so you got to be careful of that. A mini cut, that's going to go right in water. Yeah, little harder. I mean, little less hard. Jeez. Alright, so obviously that was a double bogey. If I hit that track ball 140 instead of 142, I probably have the eagle on it. Okay. I like to play this hole around to the left. Depending on your tee box, you can curve to the right, but because the green slopes towards the water, if you're coming in that way, it can be a bitch. So I'm going to go high T 10-5 into this wind and just a little bite. I'm going to go pretty much full A and then like 1.5. And yes, still overcut it. Could have been a full A1, but alright. So dropped a stroke there, but 15 is really the only hole that killed it. This hole, there is a time you can sometimes go through those trees if you have a dead straight wind. It's like a once in a million shot though. The way I play it is just get out as far as you can. Okay, and then I'm going to do a soft 8 just because I do not like trying to mini cut a 5 hybrid. So there you go. Alright, and then here, I like a low driver here, and it's normally real soft, and just trying to find, so you're going through that hole. I mean, obviously, you can just hit it down here and play for birdie. You just hit it straight out and just land that green. I find I generally like to be more towards 2 than 1 on this, because when it gets there, trying to go straighter, you can bounce off walls, but it definitely can be a bit of a crapshoot. Yeah, see. If I hit the inside of that wall, I might have bounced down. But just put it on and I'll play for birdie this way. And I missed the putt. Alright, so score didn't wind up so good, but hopefully you saw some of the holes.